If you're a boss, do us a favor and don't discuss politics or religion at work. I'm a firefighter and I feel my views are pretty centrist, but on the other hand everyone at my department is very right-leaning. I'm fine with it until it gets to the point where my chief or lieutenant are ranting about 510 times a day about either how Trump is going to save us all or how Pride Month is some type of demon ritual. The higher-ranking officers like my chief just constantly talk about their sustain with the country and other people. But the lower brass like my lieutenant get talk very violently about gay people and it makes me super uncomfortable. I think it's because the chief talks about religion and his politics so they think it's okay. Sorry for the rant, it just sucks having to leave the room every time. My boss did a similar thing when he started sharing his stereotypes of Islamic women. I just called him out on it. I feel like it's almost abusive when people share their controversial opinions like that and assume that everyone agrees. It's like a power thing or something. My boss tried to do this once. We ended up in a very public argument that turned a few of my coworkers into socialists. Sometimes it works out, lol. At my office we have a list of things not to bring up around the boss cause he will always connect back to Trump or Biden. This includes movies, TV, pizza and anyone famous. A month ago he spent an hour telling us all his evidence that Tom Hanks is a pedo. I find it hilarious when union members talk about how much they love Trump. Morons. Assuming your department is union. They are all where I live. I already knew it was right-leaning before even reading the full description. Because who else would incessantly bring up politics and religion? Or even if you're not a boss, do your thing on your own time. I've had a billing manager tell me I need God. I laughed in her face. Said, imagine being a grown-ass adult thinking propaganda pushed fable tales is the end-all be-all. No wonder you're the stereotypical ugly single mother who's a conservative Christian. Simply packed my desk up and left. She didn't know how to do my job, and according to former coworkers she is on track to be fired as her team won't help her. She's a religious nut that believe that fable tale book is judge, jury and executioner. It blows my mind how many firefighters are dead set against anything socialism. But when you bring up the fact their entire job is 100% socialism, they lose their minds. My last boss very casually would say, "You're either a Democrat or an American," at work. I can't say I miss him. I once had a boss who was super Christian. Her rule was that you can talk about politics or religion as long as it's in the context of love and caring. Any negative comments about any religion or political view, belief will be an instant write-up. If you disagree with someone, keep your mouth shut. Work is not the place to argue. I became her manager and was happy to enforce that. That will be my rule any place I manage from now on. I'm an anarcho-communist, according to the political spectrum, and a Buddhist. She respected that. Because I could give reasoning for my beliefs with love and compassion. I respected her centrist Christianity views because she spread God's love through actions, not words. Some American corporations, offshore, recruitment, screening, and hiring for candidates in certain job classifications. They do this to skirt U.S. employment regulations that can shield bad apples. Unsurprisingly, fascists, racists, misogynists, theists, and anti-vaxxers are detrimental to morale and productivity in the workplace. Ask any HR professional what causes 95% of their employer's personnel conflict cases. That list or one very similar will be their answer. The practice is expensive and time-consuming, so it is generally confined to mid and, mostly, Upper management salaried positions. If you are a frontline, lower-level wage earner at a, usually, larger successful company, and you notice uppers are happy while you're sad, rest assured those smiles persist not only because those wearing them are paid very well, but, perhaps especially, because they're not dealing with as many, if any, lowbrow crackpot coworkers as you are. That's just the way it is. Edit. I failed to mention that, in my decades as a headhunter, I never provided culling services to a government agency, like a fire department. We had a platoon sergeant that was ranting and raving back at Glenn Beck's height of fame daily. Guy made his hatred of LGBT+ folks known as DADT was being repealed. I remember him whining to me about how EOA was threatening to have him handed a general order of reprimand, Gomar, which would end his career if he didn't shut his trap. He whined to me that just because he didn't support that lifestyle, didn't mean he'd be a bad leader. I asked him if he were gay and had a platoon sergeant as his leader decrying LGBT people. Would he think his leader would give him a fair shake? Would he trust that a leader that was anti-gay would treat them fairly? And, even if that leader did, do you think the mere perception they wouldn't would impede soldiers coming to that leader? I would say that to the fire chief who was made a pillar of the religious freedom movement, because he was putting anti-gay chick tracts and other proselytization material around the firehouse. I would ask them if an LGBT firefighter would be comfortable coming to them and being treated fairly, because even if the leader did, your subordinates still might not come to you. Right-wing firefighters. Imagine being a right-wing lunatic while doing a job that is literally an example of socialism. Hey man, you're the one tolerating it in your spaceman shrugging, maybe speak up. I'm from WV. All the dudes from my hometown deer hunt and are truck guys and watch sports. I found out from an early age that the manliest thing I could do was to be myself and ignore conformity. I dress the way I want to dress. I speak the way I want to speak. And live the way I want to live. Ain't much, but it's mine. Your coworkers are morons, man. Removing politics from any part of society is fool's endeavor. It's ingrained in it. My work was very apolitical when I joined, which I like because I'm very left-leaning in the Deep South, so I'm better off being blissfully ignorant on most of my coworkers' political opinions. We recently got a new guy who's openly conservative, and now a few other people have decided to join in being vocally conservative to the point where I can't go a week without hearing several sexist or racist remarks. If it gets any worse, I'm definitely going to HR and we'll see what happens. But moving away from the South has been part of the plan for a while. So I may just do that sooner rather than later. Which is pretty upsetting because the company is great outside of 2 or 3 people. Oh, I would be cashing a check on these dudes so quick. I straight up quit a job because of this. I tried to get my point across multiple times by ignoring, then downright saying I'm not interested in speaking about these topics at work. Got another job lined up, then peaced out.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.